to Just Thinking. This is Mary Greendale. The title of this show grew out of a lifetime of curiosity about many different subjects. Some local, some global, and some in between. For each show, I will open with my thoughts and then bring on guests who explore the subject in greater detail. I hope the show inspires healthy discussions on camera and among viewers. To me, the sky's the limit when we are just thinking. Hi, welcome to another issue of Just Thinking. This is today is an interesting show, I think, because I have a guest here from Kenya, and that's not the norm. I mean, I go to great lengths to get people from different places, but I've never been able to get someone all the way from Africa. So today's show is a little bit off base for me too. I'm often talking about those things that are very, very local, and today we're going to talk global. We're going to talk about what it's like for some young girls in an area of Kenya where Jonathan, our guest, works very hard to bring very basic necessities to the people. And I'm going to read you the vision from their website, and their meaning it's the MAYOO. Forgive me, we'll get to what their name is because getting all these names in my head hasn't worked. I want you to hear the vision though. We envision a community whose youth have access to education and basic necessities like potable water so they can live to their fullest potential. That statement really got me, and I think that the biggest thing about it that got me was the potable water, because so often we take so for granted that gift that we have, and then so many other gifts. And I think that's kind of what we're going to hear from this show. And then we're going to hear all the good stuff that Jonathan's been doing to give us hope for what the future holds. So let's move along. I have with me today Jonathan Sakuda. Or what's the other name?
Jonathan Simel.
Simel. See, I was supposed to use the Simel and I forgot that already. And Sherry Anderson, who is local, and I do know. And Sherry reached out to me not too long ago and said Jonathan was going to be in the United States in the Boston area and visiting. And of course, I didn't even get into the details of how did you get to know Jonathan and what brings him here and so forth. So we'll do that right now. I don't know much more about it than you do, so let's go. Sherry, how did you meet Jonathan?
Jonathan runs an organization in Kenya called the MAYOO, Maasai Youth Outreach Organization, and my son Kyle, who just graduated from college last May, found something on a website called workaway.com where you can volunteer in an interesting place in exchange for staying in someone's house. And Kyle last February decided he wanted to do something right after college before he started his working life. He wanted to do something totally out of his element, out of his comfort zone, is what he said. And so he found Jonathan's organization on workaway.com, contacted him, and Jonathan said, come visit. And so Kyle graduated in May. 1 week later, we put him on the plane to Kenya, and he stayed for 5 weeks. We had not a lot of contact with him while he was there. But while he was there, he had a fantastic experience, changed his life. He learned so much, learned to appreciate all the gifts he has, as you mentioned. And while Kyle was there, Jonathan and I started talking online. And when we just kept talking. After Kyle left, we just kept talking. We were talking on Facebook Messenger. And we just became fast friends, and just thought he was the sweetest guy and doing amazing work in Kenya. And one day he just mentioned casually that they had a half-built water pipe to his village. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, they only had raised a few $1,000s and they didn't have enough money to complete it. And so I said, well, and I talked to Kyle about this, about how they get water now. And during the rainy season, they have a big barrel, a big kind of vessel where the water is collected And when that runs out, then they have to haul water from a lake or a pond or a dam with big barrels, and women do all the work, that lugging of water to and from, and it's usually a mile walk to and from. And sometimes they use donkeys to help bring the water back. And Kyle participated in one of these adventures when he was there, was getting water. But they need it for everything, of course. And so then Jonathan and I, again, were talking, and he said he only needed $4,000 to complete the water pipe. And I said, I think with all the resources in Holliston and the people of my family and friends that I know around the country, that I thought we could raise that $4,000. So I started a crowdfunding website, and as of last week, we had raised $3,200, and just last Thursday, a very generous couple in Holliston gave $1,000 to complete the project. So we went over the project. So, but in the meantime, Jonathan said he was coming to Boston, and he wanted to come stay with me and line up things for him to do while he was here. So that's where we are today. He's been here about a month, and he's going back to Kenya in a couple of days.
And is your son around to visit with him, or is he? Where is he?
He's working in Madison, Wisconsin right now.
Oh, okay. Wow, he's really bounced around a bit already, hasn't he? Okay. So, Jonathan, welcome. I'm delighted that you came.
Thank you so much.
I went on your website for. Do you say MAYOO? Is that
MAYOO?
MAYOO. That's the organization. I love the name because in my mind it's MAYOO. See, it's I don't know. Anyway, to me MAY was MAYOO. Okay. So I read just a little bit that you're working with the Maasai. Is that, what do you call the group? Is it a population? Is it a nation? What is it? It's just an ethnic group within Kenya?
Yeah, it is a community-based organization. And it is called Maasai Youth Outreach Organization, but the short word of it is MAYOO, and is registered by the Kenyan government in the Ministry of Social Services.
Okay.
So MAYOO covers an area called Indashat in Maasai land, and Indashat have almost 20,000 people, where my organization is helping and going around.
And the 20,000 people, are they of all ages?
Yeah, they are all ages, kids, their parents, and everyone in the community.
Do they all live nearby one another?
It is a bit scattered area. It's long area, so it's scattered homes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's big.
Now, when I read in the best thing about having you come on is it forced me to do a little research and look at a map and the whole 9 yards. So when I look at the area, it referred to the Great Lakes, the African Great Lakes. Do you have a lot of water in your area? That was my big question. In your region, is there a lot of water?
We don't have any water in our region.
Huh.
I think what we only have is one borehole,
really?
Which is in secondary school, which was built by some friends. So it is that one borehole there, where everyone depends on that borehole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also animals, wild and domestic animals, depend on the same borehole.
Sure, yeah. Sure. Okay.
Just to interrupt for a second, just to explain geographically where he's located.
Yeah.
He is about 2 hours south, a little southwest of Nairobi.
Okay.
And in that area, it's very near the equator, and it's pretty dry.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I was looking at, was in the northern part. Okay,
right.
So that explains that.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now, what is the purpose of your organization?
The purpose of my organization mostly is to help everyone. Because to give a little story, I grew up in a very rough lifestyle because my parents died when I was young. Then I grew up a very needy child.
You were an orphan?
Yeah, I'm an orphan. So my mother died when I was 5 and my father when I was 9. So I grew up in a rough style environment. So I decided, because I grew up, I went to school, I decided I should start something to help the community and to help unfortunate like me. So my organization does all possible projects within the Maasai community. But the most thing I am doing now is to rescue girls from early marriage and FGM. and we have a center we call the safe house, and 70 girls are there now, but it can accommodate 200. So that is my first priority I'm doing, and also I'm trying to help my community get clean water. As Sherry said, we already completed one piping, so when I go home we'll be having clean water. Also, we used to help orphans because they don't have anyone caring for them, so we used to buy them shoes, clothes, school uniforms. Also, that is part of my projects, what we do. Also, sometimes we help women when we get rain. We help women to prepare their gardens, and we plant maize and beans so that they can have enough food in their families whenever we have rain. Although we usually have long droughts, but when we have rain, we prepare their gardens.
I see. So then they can grow their own.
Yeah.
You teach them how to do that.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Now, for the young women that you were talking about, in terms of the genital mutilation.
Mutilation.
Too many. You find young girls of a certain age.
Mostly in Maasai community, some of Maasai community. Because some now have been educated, they know the importance of education. But for some who don't know education or who don't care education, they take an advantage and sell their young daughters off. And mostly they sell them when they are 13 years old.
Yeah. And
selling a girl means when you sell a girl, the husband who is buying a girl will give you 5 cattle.
5 cattle?
Yeah, 5 cattle. There are so many blankets, like 10, and some money. So they think girls are source of funds, and that's why they don't give them a equal chance with boys, because they think when you have a girl you are rich, because girls is source of funds. Also for FGM, they mutilate them, and that is a signal to show that my girl is ready to be married off. Also, they believe when you don't mutilate your girl, she's not a woman enough, and it's
that's such a puzzle.
Yeah, so it's also a problem because both women and men support FGM. And
they do.
They do.
They do support it.
Yeah, and that's why it's very high in the Maasai community. But we are trying to tell them, to teach them, although there are so many youth who went to school, they interact with other communities, they know the dangers of having it, and also others experience the dangers of having the FGM. Also, it is funny because some think when you mutilate your girl, she will be faithful in the family. So they don't like marrying an mutilated girl, because they think when you marry a mutilated girl, she will cheat you on the family. So that's why they circumcise them so that they can be faithful in the families.
Sort of in bondage, I mean, in essence. So the mutilation is intended to make them more woman?
Yeah, more woman. Yeah. When you mutilate your girl, you have become a more woman. It shows that
so
she's a woman
desirable.
now.
It's desirable to have the mutilation, not for the woman, not for the girl, but for the man or for
both.
It's
both of them.
Okay, so then it's more desirable. And the girls believe that's true.
Some girls believe that is true, and some don't like to be mutilated, and some just say, yes, I want to be mutilated because I want to be a woman. So it is a problem because some don't understand.
Sure.
And I think this is because of the Maasai culture, which is very much strong. But yeah. So
the Maasai culture, what does it grow out of? Has it always been there? I mean, has it?
Yeah, the Maasai culture have been there so many years ago. When my grandfather grew up, he told me those things were there, and even they are still there now. But I can say it is improving now because so many people are in school. Because in 1970s, 1980s, 1960s, most of the Maasai don't go to school, and that's why we say they are a bit behind in Kenya. Even economically, educationally, they are so behind. But because now so many are going to school, mostly the age of 30 to age of 5 are in school, so they are growing to know more things in the world and avoid other bad things concerning the Maasai culture. Because the Maasai culture have good things and bad, so we are trying to train them for forget about the bad things which the Maasai culture supports.
Do you have a religious affiliation in this organization? Do you belong to a church?
Yeah, we belong to a church. We have a big church called the Light Center. And I'm happy because almost 90% of the Maasai are Christians, so they go to school. So also churches are a very good source of training the Maasai, because we have big bishops who tell them the word of God and tell them mutilation is bad. And since they believe in God, they like church, they get to understand through the preaching of the pastors. Like in my church, the Light Center, we have Bishop Kesire, who is very powerful in the community, and used to tell them the word of God, have youth seminars. So Christianity is helping the Maasai culture also.
And you attended the First Congregational Church. I saw it on Facebook or whatever the other day. You went to church with Sherry.
Yeah, yes. I went to church with Sherry, although I forgot the name, but it was here in Wollaston.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Do you like it?
I was very much happy because they gave me a chance to speak.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it was my first time to speak in church in America.
Oh, nice.
So it was good for me. I told them about my story, about what I do, and they got to understand me and they helped me a lot. What even now we are looking for is to have a partnership with them, although we are still trying to do that, so that we can partner together, so we can advise each other, we can write letters, and we can grow together spiritually and everything.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. Good luck with that. I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
Now explain to me what you are wearing. Is there significance to what you are wearing? Does it have a meaning besides it's the clothes of your nation or whatever? But
this is very important. Very important. And whenever I go to special occasions or special ceremonies, or when I go to talk, mostly here in America, in Britain, because I was there, also in home, I put on the clothes. And these clothes are Maasai traditional clothes, very important. So whenever I go to present something, I put on them. Because we, the Maasai, we believe we should put on them, show up and respect our culture. So I think this is good because I believe when I put on them I am smart. As you can see, this is a Oringa.
Oringa?
Yeah, Oringa. And this is a gift from my father.
Oh.
Yeah, because my father was a strong man in the community. He was representing so many groups. So the elders gave him in 1970. So when he was sick, he gave to my grandfather, so that when I grew up, they gave me whenever I become a leader of a certain group. So because I was successfully started Maasai Youth Outreach Organization, and I become someone in the community, that's why they gave me. So I am proud having it. I think Sherry knows whenever I go to perform in a talk, I usually carry it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So well, and also, I'm sure it gives you confidence, too. Makes you feel really strong about it. That's good.
Sure.
Now, does everybody dress alike? Or do you all have different colors? Or is it whatever you want?
We have some categories of the Maasai, because we have the Kekonyoki, though it is hard for you to understand.
Yeah.
And we have Pruko, and we have others, Ludoklani. And most as the Kekonyoki, we put on red clothes. And we believe we put on red because we love blood. We love taking blood. So this shows cattle. Cattle have blood. So it represents blood.
In the reading, you are warriors. Was there a time in history when that was what you were known to be? Was warriors or?
Yeah, they are warriors, and we call them Moran. When they pass the circumcision period, they go to the forest. They move away from home, just to go to the forest to hunt, to eat meat, to drink blood and milk. So the warrior only eat blood, drink milk and eat meat only for the period maybe of 6 years. So after they finish to be Amran, they graduate, they come back home, they marry, and they start a life to be men. Yeah.
What work do men do?
In Kenya, mostly men don't have much to do in the family. What I can say men do is only to do business or work in offices for those who are educated. But I was speaking in schools and churches and so many places, and I was telling them Maasai women have a hard time because Maasai women are the ones who go to fetch water every day. Men don't go to fetch water. Women are the ones who cook food. Men don't cook food. When you cook in Maasai village and you are a man, they think you are crazy. So men don't cook. Also, women are the ones who look after kids, children. When you have a baby, the man don't carry a baby or look after her or him. So women have a lot of work to do. Also, women do dishes. Men don't wash dishes. So I say women do a lot of work in Maasai community. So it is hard. So also,
how do you get money, or how do you pay for things?
It is hard in Kenya or in Maasai community. It's a big struggle because the most popular work they have is business, selling and buying of goods.
What kind of goods?
Goods, meat goods.
Meat?
Yeah, meat goods.
To other neighboring people?
We have a big market called Kiserian. And when you go to Kiserian, you can meet a lot of goods and a lot of cows, millions of them there. They slaughter, they take money, they take meat in Nairobi. So that's what they do. Also,
billions of cows?
Yeah, in the Kiserian market. It's well known even in Kenya. Yeah, and the Kenya Meat Commission buy all the meats within Maasai community because they know, and Maasai only have cattle because they are nomadic. So they keep cattle.
They are still nomadic?
Yeah, they are still nomadic. Although women don't move with the cattle. Whenever droughts come, the father and his son go around looking for grass where the rain is. So, and the rest of the family stay at home, maybe mother and her daughters. But men go around to look after their cattle to make sure when droughts come, they don't die. Yep. So they go miles looking for rain.
Well,
and
they probably don't have a lot of time to do those other things like cook the meals. You know,
No.
Must take a long time to go from one place to another on foot. You know what I mean? It's just a very different world from what we think about.
Sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Kenya? Have you ever been?
Not me, not yet. I'm planning to
You're
though.
going?
Sometime, yes.
You have to go.
I have to go, I know.
After you've invested so much of your heart and soul in this, I think you do have to go.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now you have raised enough money to do this one water pipe. Are you going to keep raising money? I mean, I have to assume you could use other water pipes or other whatever.
Well, to tell them about sponsoring girls.
Yeah, I think for the water, the one you asked, Sherry, as I said, my organization is covering in the Dashat location, and in the Dashat location you have almost 20,000 people. And the pipe we finished so far, it only help 1,000 people.
Okay.
So I can say 19,000 people are still in need of clean water.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future when I get other well-wishers, I can move into another village which have the same number of the people. Then we can do another piping.
Another pipe. Okay,
Yeah.
I see this. Okay.
Although the center we have the safe house, which I said earlier, we also raised enough money to pipe water to the safe house because they also have problems of clean water because they go to fetch water on Saturdays and do their cleanings. So it is hard to go and fetch water every day and also to concentrate on your studies. So we thought we should help them have clean water so that they can only concentrate on schooling, so that they can pass exams and get good grades to take them to high school and the university.
How does an educational system work in there? I mean, who's doing the teaching?
Near the safe house, there is a public school.
Okay.
It's a very good school because in the constituency, there was a time they became number 1. So they usually become number 1, number 3, or number 5. So it is a very nice school. So these young girls go to the public school, which is called Oloshibor Primary School. And it's a big school because it have almost 600 students. Yeah. So it is a big school within the Maasai community.
Do the boys go too?
Yeah, boys also go to the school.
And do they get to go all the way through high school and to university, or do they stop sooner?
Yeah, mostly because of poverty. Most parents don't make or don't afford to pay university or even high school. So many of them don't go to high school because they don't have school fees. But the education process, it is 8 years of primary education, 4 years of secondary level, and 4 years of university. But most of them finish primary level and don't go to high school.
And that makes it really hard to try to educate. I'm just thinking about, again, going back to the mutilation issue, that if you have a young girl that you can teach that this is not in her best interest, but you have young boys or men who are not learning that, the dynamic is still there. That's still, they're going to have different needs. They're going to have different drives.
The other important thing is that Kenya does not provide education for the people. They have to pay to go to public school. So the money, Jonathan, his organization, he does, one of his biggest goals is trying to raise sponsorship funds for girls. So for $420 American a year, that pays for girls to live in the safe house and go to the school, buy a uniform, because they all wear uniforms there, and buy their books. So what Jonathan has been doing in the Boston area is getting, with the help of some volunteers that are here, we've collectively been able to sponsor about 15 or 16 girls, and they ask for the 5-year commitment of $420 per year to make sure a girl is going to make it to 18.
Okay.
So the public school is not like here in the United States where we pay it with taxes. It costs money to go to school, and that's another thing, that the girls' families don't have enough money to send the girls, so they need to be sponsored in order to go to school.
So the ones that are being sponsored, are they likely to have parents, or is this just for the girls who are in that category of orphans and
Yeah, both categories.
Both categories.
Because some are orphans, some have both parents, but they cannot afford to pay the student to go to school. And some ran away because of early marriage and FGM. So I was lucky enough because when 2 Americans came last year in December, Tristan and Steve, they came, I took them to the safe house, they learned about the Maasai culture, and they got to understand most how the Maasai need help. And when they were there, they were able to rescue 7 girls, and we took to the center. And that's why I got to write them emails. We organized so that I can come here. So when I came here, I was successfully managed to get 16 sponsors. So when I go back home, 16 girls will be in the center. So I can say it's a big step.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
All from one pair of people visiting. It doesn't take a whole lot of people.
No.
But somebody has to get the ball rolling for the whole thing. Now, when they're in school, is it an all-day program like it is here? Do you go in the morning and get out in the afternoon, or do you get out?
Yeah, they go to school very early in the morning.
Okay.
And they have a rough time because they walk school several kilometers.
Oh.
You can meet a kid going every day for 1.5 hours, going to school every morning. So they start their class at 7 a.m. and finish at 5 p.m. And they have to go walk back home. But I can say the rescued girls are lucky because the center is just there, 5 minutes walk. Yeah. But other students have a rough time walking back home and coming in the morning every day.
So
everything on foot.
Yeah. So you walk an hour and a half. You go to school from 7 to 5. I hope that the high school students and the rest of the community here is hearing this. They go to school until 5, kids. And then they turn around and have to walk back home again. That's an immense day, long day.
Yeah. For girls, when they go back home, they have to help their mothers cook.
Sure.
So they even don't have any time to rest. And boys, they go and look for the kettle. So they almost work every day, every hour. So they are very busy children at home.
How do you feel about that?
I think for me, it's not comfortable, although I passed through that process. But I can say also it educates someone. When you pass those so many challenges, to make you feel proud, and you must work hard so that at least you become someone, so that you pay back yourself for all the struggle you have been doing.
So you went to 2 years of university in Kenya. Did you go someplace else? Was there additional school after that, or are you going to school?
Also, to say about myself, there was a family from Philadelphia came to Kenya, and they came to do some shooting. They came a big group. So I met a father called Michael. He was almost 60 years by then. It was 2004. When they came to Kenya, I told them about my problems. And through their son who got lost in the forest, we got, he's called Skylar. We got a very strong connections, because when Skylar lost, we went to look for him, and then I brought him home. Then Michael fell in love for me a lot, and then he was very much happy that I helped them get their son. Then because I told them I am needy, they said they will help me, and that's why I was lucky to be paid all my high school fee and some of my college fee, although I still need 2 years to complete my level of education. Also, there was my uncle called Francis Sakuda. He also really helped me a lot when my parents died. So I was staying with him, and because those guys were in his home, he also supported me. He told Michael, yes, Jonathan need help, and I got my scholarship through that way. So I think God knows.
Now, do you want to finish school?
Yeah, I want to finish school because I have little education in my head. I can do something. I am willing first to fight for the girls, to make them be proud. But when I got a scholarship, I can go back to school, so I can earn more skills to help my community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm exhausted just thinking about all of it. Truly, just exhausted.
And also tell them about your personal life, Jonathan. You're married and.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. It's good to say. Also, I am married. I have a wife called Eunice. And I have a little son called Moses. Moses is 2 years old.
Oh, how nice.
And also I adopted 2 children. One boy called Lawrence, and another girl called Milka, 7 years. So both are orphans. But because I have a heart of helping people, I said I should rescue these kids. So instead of taking them to the center, I have some spare rooms. They are staying with me now in my home.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So, and your wife takes care of the home while you're off doing all of this hard work, trying to raise money and.
Yeah, I'm very much happy with my wife because she has been there every day, and he never complained when I am away. Because this year I was in the UK twice. I went on February. I stayed for 5 weeks, and then on July they told me I should go back to finish some work I didn't. Then I went there, I stayed for a month, and then I'm here in the US. So I am proud of my wife because she's taking care of the home, she's taking care of the children, and even volunteers are there in my home. She's looking after them, she's giving them work to do, she's helping them. So she's a very helpful woman. And also I am happy because she never passed female genital mutilation, although people told me, why have you married a woman who was not mutilated? But I'm still proud of her, and I don't believe in mutilation. So it's a nice woman.
What got you to that point where you turned away from the mutilation? When was that in your life? Did you always feel differently?
Yeah, I think when I grew up, when I went to school, when I went to college and have experiences with other people and hear what girls say who have been mutilated, then I learned that the mutilation is not good. Also, some girls, because they mutilate them traditionally, some bleed until they die. So I think when someone dies because of that process, it is not good. So yeah, it is not good.
Yeah. So your son's takeaway from all of this, do you know?
It changed his life, I think, in probably many ways. There is something on the website, a little interview with Kyle about his time there, and it's just the amount of walking that they do, and Kyle was able to raise money to pay for a girl for 1 year.
Oh.
And they did go to Mount Kilimanjaro area, so got to see Mount Kilimanjaro. I was like, what animals did you see? And so he did see some giraffes, and also the area where Jonathan lived, Jonathan owns sheep and goats. Okay. So that's another huge part of the water is to feed the animals as well as the people, because they have thousands of animals in the 20,000 or just the 1,000-person area, and so they're going to have 2 big vessels for the water, for animals and for the people.
So how do you? This water is good water. I mean, safe. Yeah, it is safe. It is already good in the borehole. Okay. Yeah, so it is filtered in the borehole. So when we pipe it, it will be good. Okay. Yeah. Also to say something, because maybe some wonder where is the Kenyan government and early marriage and FGM is happening, but the Kenyan government is against early marriage and FGM. So it is very wrong. It's against Kenyan laws. To mutilate your girl or to sell your girl when young. So also the Kenyan government is trying to fight this. So whenever they caught a father who mutilated his daughter, he have to go to jail. Okay. But because of the strong culture, they still do it in secret. Yeah. So that's why they still there. Well, it is something that would be easy to keep a secret. Yeah. You know, I'm sure the girls, unless it's somebody who's very outspoken. I mean, it must be scary to be one of those girls, 13 years old, and then to have to try to speak out if that's what you want to do. Must be pretty scary to try to do that. Yeah. Now, do you have a daughter? I'm trying to remember. Did you say you have one daughter? Yeah, I adopted one daughter. One daughter. Yeah, so you will have your own experience of what it's like to be a girl growing up in your culture. I mean, girls and boys grow up differently. You know. They can be treated equally, but they still grow up differently. They have different, whatever. If I could figure out what it was, I'd bottle it and sell it, and I'd make a fortune, I suppose. But the point is that, you know, I think it'd be interesting for you to see what it's like through the eyes of a girl. Sure. That will be different. Right. So, well, is there anything else that I've left out? Is there anything you wanted to convey that I haven't touched on? We did want to just clarify my crowd rice, the crowd rice site I started. When I first started it, we were only going to do 1 pipe from the school, which has the well, to Jonathan's village. And then there was also a well in the safe house, and it dried up. So that's why we need a second well. Okay. But we believe with all the fundraising in a month in Boston, because people were so generous in Massachusetts and all the places. Jonathan's been up to the North Shore, to Cape Cod, and to Holliston, and spent, we've all sponsored events for him to speak and to raise money. And so they've sponsored 16 girls, and we've raised close to $5,000 or so for the 2 water pipes. So the 2 pipes we think we've got enough money to do that as well. Do you want to tell us what the website is or anything, so that if people do want to donate, they can? Sure. If they, well, first of all, if they want to go to MAYOO, it's Maasai. They type in MAASE. AI. AI. Okay. MAAS. AI. AI. Yeah, we have a blog. But if you, I was going to say, all I did was typed in MAYOO. And you got it? And I got it. Okay, perfect. Much easier. Yes. Yes. Trying to remember all those S's and A's and so forth. MAYOO. Right. MAYOO, and you get right to the website. Exactly. And then you can read about it, and yes, there's a blog on it, but it'll also give you a little bit more information. And I didn't follow that through, so there's a donate button at some point in the website? There is, although it's, to be honest, it's a PayPal account, and they take a lot of funds out of every donation. So it's not the best way to donate. Who takes out the funds? It just, you know, the credit card companies and PayPal, and so like $25 donation ends up being less than, you know, less than its actual value. So how do you recommend that they donate? Well, I might keep the CrowdRise site up for a little bit longer and explain that I'm not sure, we're still, you know, evolving everything, but
we might, a way to give is through CrowdRise, and I've put it on Facebook a lot. If people Google me on Facebook, or I'm sorry, just search for me on Facebook, Sherry Anderson, S-H-E-R-R-Y. And I've put it on I'm Holliston Happy a couple of times,
Yep.
and it's always up on my Facebook page.
Okay.
And there are lots of links to CrowdRise, and you can go to crowdrise.com and search for all kinds of things that people are doing all over the world. And mine's called Help Build a Water Pipe in Kenya, I think. So we're still evolving about what we're going to do, because sort of the next round, the next important phase of fundraising is to keep raising funds for the girls. The pipes were just a temporary, kind of a little short-term project.
Okay.
The girls is, along forever, probably, for a long time, until something changes in Kenya where girls are the government's able to provide.
Well, and it's not just Kenya, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, there's so many parts of the world where women are not valued.
Right.
So it's a big culture change. We're talking about the whole globe kind of shifting here.
I just read a book about Afghanistan, and women are the same, very ill-treated.
But Jonathan's on the right track. It takes education, it takes light, it takes shining a light on the subject, and it takes a real commitment and drive. You're obviously a leader. And your parents would be very proud of you, I am sure, if they were here to see you. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everyone who donated for water project, for all those said they will sponsor their girls.
Yep.
So I just say thank you so much. I think this is the easy way to tell them thank you so much. Also, I want to tell the American Embassy thank you so much, because to get a visa in Kenya is not that easy.
Oh.
And I got 11 refusal getting a visa to come here. I started looking at visa in 2011.
Oh.
So because of some people take an advantage and come here and don't go back home, that's why the U.S. Embassy in Kenya is very serious and concerned on giving visas issue. But I want to tell them thank you so much. You respected me. You gave me a visa 5 years, and I respect them. I will go back home. And when I go home, I will write them a letter of thanks letter. Yeah.
Yep.
So also when other people want to come through my program, I think they will understand and they will respect the work of MAYOO, and they will also give them the chance to come here. So I tell everyone thank you so much.
And if I could just say one more thing too.
Sure.
First Congregational Church. Many of the members on Sunday were very generous in contributions, and many people on the CrowdRise site. There's been so many people who have given money that live in Holliston. So Holliston, it's a great community, and I just want to thank them too for all the funding and support. Just support of my son and me, and doing the project, and it's just been very gratifying.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, with that, I will wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And if you're still here, enjoy our Thanksgiving. And if you're back at home, enjoy seeing your family.
Thank you.
Safe travels. And with that, we'll call this a show. And thank you very much for being with us. We will be online and we will be on air. So check us out. Thanks. Bye.